Waiting for it to record. Let's see. There we go, everybody. What's up? This is Kenny Cummins here of Chilling with Kenny C right here on tmvcafe.com. And joining me on this hip hop night is a returning guest. Usually he's with me with fellow of his label mates from Creative Native Records. This time he's chilling with me on his own.
Can you see it? Yep.
And he's got this brand new project that he's been talking about for years now.
Yep.
ISK3. I want to make
Yep.
sure I get that right. Stands for Invisible Spit Kicker
Yeah.
3.
Invincible Spit Kicker
And
3. Yep.
so joining me is the one and only Furious Floyd. He's back on the show. What's good, man?
I'm good, man. I'm chilling. You know what I'm saying? It's good to be back on here as always. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're one of my favorite interviewers just because you always actually have informed questions. Like we send you the music, you actually listen to the music, you actually have
Yeah.
good questions and ask questions that kind of not catch me off guard, but things that everybody just kind of goes, "Oh, your top five favorite rappers ever," and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So I fuck with your interview style. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm here. You know what I mean? The album's called Invincible Spit Kicker 3. It's the third in the series. My one of my first EPs was called Invincible Spit Kicker.
Yeah.
And then an EP that I made like when I first, not really when I first got out here, but like after I've been out here for a couple years in Louisville, was Invincible Spit Kicker 2. So this is Invincible Spit Kicker 3. Now, just to kind of give you some quick background on why it's called that. The first Invincible Spit Kicker, I actually had like a very major level like asthma attack. And this is when I was first working on my first album. I had only put out one EP. I was going to put out this EP, and then, and I'm working on it, trying to figure out what I'm going to call it. Had an asthma attack, ended up in the hospital for like 3 days. And I had a picture of me in the hospital with like the gas, like the oxygen mask on and
Yeah.
everything. So like I used that as the album cover and then called it Invincible Spit Kicker, like, Invincible spit rhymes, kick rhymes. That's kind of where it came from. Invincible Spit Kicker 2, I actually broke my leg. Um, so I have this condition called Osgood Slaughters where your shin bones are thicker than they're supposed to be. So it puts extra stress on your like knee tendons, particularly like your patellar tendon, like the one that lets you like kick forward. And I snapped it at a basketball run at LA Fitness. Snapped it completely off the bone. So I had to get surgery and had to do like a year of, recovery and physical therapy and all of that. And they had this big ice pack, like an automated ice pack that you like wrapped around your leg, and then you plug it into this thing with ice water, and it constantly pumps like fresh ice water on your leg so that it can keep the swelling down. And I took a picture of myself on the couch wearing the thing, and then we like grayscaled it really weird, where it looked like this crazy, spooky, like almost like skull guy, but it was really just like a picture of me laid up with my leg. You know what I'm saying? So the Invincible Spit Kicker series has always been albums that I've made when I was either sick or was going through some kind of health thing, and I had a lot of time on my hands, and it really put things in perspective. Like, man, I really got to work on this music. Like the asthma thing, it's like, okay, I'm having trouble breathing. Let me get these albums out. You know what I'm saying? And like,
Yeah.
kind of thing. The second one, it was like I was laid up on the couch for months, like healing this injury. So I ended up, making that album around that. Invincible Spit Kicker 3, I started this album during COVID. So that's why I've been talking about the album for like years, is because I actually started making this album when COVID hit and everybody was stuck in the house. And I started working on it. And basically I had a collection of songs that kind of, I was trying to like speak to a lot of like the anxiety of what was going on in the world and just kind of the vibes of where everything was at that time. And then over the course of time, I've made a bunch of more songs. So like I haven't put out a solo album in 5 years. You know what I mean? My last solo album was Context. I put that out in the middle of the Trump administration because I wanted to kind of explain what was going on in the world and like algorithms and, like Hillary versus Trump. And I wanted to kind of put it all in a nice little box and kind of timestamp that moment in time.
Yeah.
You know, um, Nina Simone, one of my favorite music quotes, Nina Simone said, it was like a minute long quote, but basically she said, like, an artist's duty is to reflect the times. You know what I mean? So like what I do is I'm making music that reflects the times in which I find myself. And that's what she said. And she's like, that's an artist's kind of job, is to speak to what's going on around them, what they're dealing with at that moment. So like I've always kind of lived by that credo in terms of rap. So that's what this album is. It's kind of me going through a lot of the rougher times in my life in the last couple of years and kind of putting it to paper, but not in a super depressing, like, oh, woe is me kind of way, but just kind of really like explaining that like anxiety that like a lot of people have been going through for the past couple of years. You know what I mean? And that's what the album is. So that's why it's called Invincible Spit Kicker 3. People have been asking me what that means because a lot of people didn't hear Invincible Spit Kicker 1 or 2 because they're years old. And I hadn't put out a solo in 5 years. I've done a lot of music in the
Yes,
last
you
5 years. Like we've done two Natives albums. I have the Ghetto Gospel album with Q Mystic. I'm all over everybody's album. I'm on Dom's new album. I'm doing a lot, but I hadn't did my own thing. And when left to my own devices, I speak to the times. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
that's what this album is about.
Yeah, so I haven't heard the first two ISK projects. Um,
Mm,
so I found out about you after the fact, but of course I'm familiar with context.
mm,
Because I've mentioned your album on a Music Monday post that I used to do. That was before I started Music Monday Jukebox and stuff. Um,
mm.
that was a very dope project, and
Thank
I've always walked with you and Creative Natives because y'all very active and y'all stay busy, always constantly providing music, and everybody's having their own opportunity to shine with their own projects and shining on compilation projects. So Creative Natives will forever be in my good graces, not just as artists, but as just people, because y'all always pushing, pushing, pushing. And, y'all have released at least a project per month for like a year. So it's just
you.
incredible, man.
Yeah, it's been
It's
10 months strong. We've dropped
well,
an album, a project of some sort every month for the past 10 consecutive months. So going back to November of 2022, we've dropped
yeah,
a project every month. We had Q Mystic's album dropped on Black Friday. Mr. Mello, fire album, by the way. Y'all got to go back and
yes,
check that out. That's crazy. Then we dropped Natives Volume 2 in December, early December, and then 2 days before Christmas, Dom dropped Bluegrass Wonderlands. Then January we kind of took off, but then we dropped two albums in February. So we dropped what was it? Ghetto Gospel. You know what I mean? We dropped
yes,
Ghetto Gospel, and then we dropped a spring compilation. So we do quarterly compilations. So we dropped our spring compilation, Spring Fling 2023. And the compilations are always one individual like solo track from every artist on the label, and then one natives track. You know what I'm saying? So we did that in March. Then in April, Ramel's 2082 album came out. In May, that was Q Mystic's instrumental album came out, Mystic Minis. Then June, we did the summer compilation. Um, July, what do we do in July? I'm trying to remember. I'm missing one. But basically, long story
yeah,
short, we drop a lot of albums. You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like we have this thing with the label where we have a studio session every Sunday, like
Mm-hmm.
every Sunday. Like only if it's like Father's Day and everybody's preoccupied, or Mother's Day or something like that.
Right.
Something falls on a Sunday. Besides that, we have a studio session every single Sunday. So that's how we pump out so much music, is that we're constantly every week working on music. At least one day of the week is dedicated entirely to like the music making process. And now we're starting to do that. We're kind of converting that into making more visuals. So we're going to start shooting a lot of videos and dropping a lot of videos real soon.
That's dope. So shout out to everybody, Creative Native. I'm not gonna name by name because I'm gonna forget somebody, and then
See, I'm
somebody
forgetting
gonna be
that
in
one.
my messages. and be like,
Uh,
yo, you forgot about me. So shout out to everybody as a collective. Creative Native Records, such a dope label. So check them out. Check out the website and check out all the music that they have put out up to this point. And they're gonna have more music coming after that. So they not stopping anytime soon. Uh, so I gotten so this project was originally scheduled to be released somewhere in September, but you pushed it back, I believe, to October. So
yeah.
you have a confirmed date for this ISK3.
As of now, I don't have an exact date. I will say for sure that it'll be in October for sure. Probably earlier rather than later in October. But the reason why I ended up having to push it back was my father actually passed away. So, it was kind of really unexpected. I was finishing up the album. It was almost done. We are in like the mixing and mastering process. And my father had a heart attack. And I ended up having to, jump up, hop on a plane, fly out to New York. I spent like 10 days in New York. Spent my birthday. I actually buried my father the day after my birthday. So it was a very surreal experience for real. I'm okay. So like I'm saying this, a little removed from it and whatnot. And like I actually handled it like in terms of, the day to day of going through it a lot better than even I expected to. In terms of like keeping my cool about it and not being like falling apart over it. But rest in peace to my father. Love you, Dad. Um, my name is Floyd Patterson Jr. on everything for a reason because I am the junior, and that's out of respect to my father. That was always why I always put the junior at the end of my name and on my socials. So, I'm gonna miss him. He taught me how to be a fucking man. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he's a lot of the reason why I am the type of person that I am now. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's crazy and it was a crazy situation, but that's why the album got pushed back because I had about a 2 week span where I had to drop everything and fly back to New York and do, funeral arrangements and all of that kind of stuff. And then I came back and it was like I just didn't want to jump right back into the thick of everything immediately. So I've taken like the last week or so and kind of decompressed a little bit. Still been working on it. Like I've still been working on the album. We have a session every Sunday. You know what I mean? So the album will be out very soon.
Gotcha. And of course, condolences go out to your family. Um,
I appreciate it, man.
for Mr. Patterson's um, passing. I
Yeah.
myself am a junior as well. Um, cherish the loved ones. Give them a hug, give them a call, tell them that you love them. Um, life
Yeah.
ain't promised anything.
It
For
ain't, man. And
so,
it's crazy because like I had just like my father had called me a couple of times prior to it. I think he kind of had an idea that like something was up health wise. So he had called me and talked to me. We had like a really good conversation. Like me and him, my little brother and him also had like a really good conversation like before he passed, where we kind of talked about everything, life, and I love you and I respect you and all of the things that you need to hear from your parent for real. You know what I'm saying? I kind of hold on to the idea. This is how I've always kind of viewed death because like my mother died in front of me of a heart attack when I was 11. So, like I have like a weird relationship with like death and grief because like I experienced it at such a young age with such an important person. And I think like the way I try to look at it is the thing that kills you about when somebody dies that you care about is the fact that you can't interact with them anymore. You know what I mean? Like you can't talk to them. I can't just pick up the phone and go call my dad like I would, and have the conversation. So it feels like they're gone. And people always say, I'm not a super religious person. You know what I mean? Like I'm kind of agnostic. I don't know. I think that when it comes to religion, we don't know if it's Jesus or Allah or Buddha or whatever. I think that we try to put a name and a label and a story to it to make ourselves feel better. personally. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't, it's not that I don't believe in any of those things. Like, I don't believe in Jesus or God. I just am not so arrogant to say that I know for sure. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, it's something though. I believe there's some kind of higher power. And the way that I kind of look at death is that you can't interact with them, and that's what like bothers you. But the thing about it is, if you really love somebody and you really care about somebody and you really knew them really well, even though you can't react like interact with them in the physical anymore, you still know what those conversations would be like. You know what I mean? Like, I know if I had to call my dad and ask him for advice, what he would say to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know if I had to ask him any question in the world, what that conversation would be like, because that's my father. And I know my father. And I love my father. Same thing with my mother. So it's like at the end of the day, that whole thing people say that, they never die, they like live on in your heart, and they live on with you kind of thing. That's a very true thing. And as long as I hold on to the idea that the essence of who they are is something that I like kind of carry with me and know that explicitly because I was so close to them. It's like my father taught me everything that he needed to teach me. He told me everything he needed to tell me in his life. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like I find strength in the idea that I know what he would say. Like, I know that he's proud of me in terms of like what I'm doing in life and how I went and chased my dream and actually caught that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And like things like that. So it's kind of like I just kind of that's my way of kind of processing it, is understanding that like the people that you love are gone in the physical, but in their essence of who they are, that's always with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's kind of how I look at it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if that could help anybody out there, but that's how I process it for real.
That is well said, man. That's well said. Um,
Yeah, I didn't mean to serious you out. I know when you asked
nah,
why
you
I
good,
the
bro.
album, you
You
probably
good,
didn't know
bro.
all of this shit. So my
Yeah,
bad. Didn't mean to get all
yes,
all deep and philosophical, but that's the reality of the
yeah.
situation.
Look, I expect nothing less from you, though, man. Like I truly uh respect it. It's definitely something to 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 think about, to keep it in proper perspective, obviously, and that we all have one chance at this thing called life. So be around those that loves you, that walks with you, and enjoy every day that you're still breathing. As long as you're breathing, enjoy life. Be around people um, that truly loves you, that's there for you, obviously. So,
Facts.
so I've heard you sent me 6 songs off
Mhm.
this project,
Oh, whoops.
and I've heard about 5 of the 6.
Uh-huh.
Uh, so Uncanny Valley.
That's the one
Woo!
everybody. That's the one everybody talks about, bro. That
Yeah,
uncanny valley. That's a motherfucker.
yeah. Let's
That's
let's
probably
talk
gonna be
about it,
track
man. Let's
two.
talk about that, though.
Okay. Um, Uncanny Valley is a song that I wrote because I had a conversation about the Knicks, actually. So what happened was the whole first verse is just things that I had, been thinking about, and I had that first line about the Kia Souls and about like the song starts, it says, I bought my wife the club on my direct deposit re-up to lock a steering column just because you have a Kia. What the fuck you niggas on? Because everybody's the Kia boys. Everybody know about the Kia boys in the city. And in your city, wherever you're at, listen to this, motherfuckers run around stealing Kias because they're very easy to steal because of TikTok challenge. I bought my wife this. This is the club. And what it is you lock this bitch around the steering wheel. If somebody were to try to steal your car, all they can do is drive in a straight line so they don't try to steal your car. So that's what that's about. That's like a real life thing that like I did that I had on my mind when people started stealing these cars. So that's why I kind of wrote that line. So the whole first verse and the part me talking about, my friend carrying around the gun because he put his gun away because he didn't want to shoot a kid because he knows kids are the ones robbing and stealing and doing all of that now. And he's
Yeah,
like, I don't want to shoot. but then he got his own kids. So it's like, what do you do? You know what I mean? Kind of thing. That was the first verse. The second verse was actually a situation that happened at the house. So I live in an apartment complex. Somebody got shot in our apartment complex like 30 times. It ended up being it was this guy's father shot him a bunch of times, apparently, from what I've heard. I don't know. I don't be all up in people's business. But when that happened, it was a whole big crazy situation, and SWAT and all of this stuff was around the house, and it was crazy. And then I went for a walk, and I was talking to people on the Knicks Twitter, on the spaces, like on Twitter, because that Knicks are my team. You know what I'm saying? We're finally good, which is awesome. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I was talking to them about it, and they were like, they know me, so they're like, hey, Furious, what's going on? How's your day? And I'm like, my day is really crazy, actually. And I just very casually explained what happened, and you could hear a pin drop in the space, and everybody was like, oh my god, are you okay? And I'm like, no, I'm fine. And they're like, no, like, are you okay, like mentally, are you okay? Like, and I'm like, no, I'm good. And then after it, this girl that was in the space like DM'd me, and she was like, hey, I'm just checking on your mental health, making sure you're good. I know you say you're okay, but like, are you really okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm good. And that got me to thinking, it's not normal to be this okay with this situation as I am. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not really normal discourse to like something like that to happen so close to home. And for me to just be like, oh, well, let's talk about Jalen Brunson crossing over fucking Caruso the other day. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really not, but it's like, this is the reality. We've become so desensitized to the violence around us. You know what I'm saying? So I wrote this song, and that's where the song came from. You know what I mean? It was really a way of me kind of releasing the anxiety that I didn't even know I had around how dangerous shit be. You know what I'm saying? It really took a bunch of other people, strangers, being like, oh my God, are you all right? For me to even like process that, not that I wasn't all right, but that like I'm really like suppressing the anxiety that comes with that, because that's what you do. You deal with this shit all the time. So like in real life, you really kind of bury it a bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that was kind of the song where I just kind of really wanted to take the emotion of that anxious feeling people have about their neighborhoods being dangerous and like put it on a track. So that's Uncanny Valley. And that song, of all the songs I previewed and sent to people, that's the one people always go to first and be like, this motherfucker right here. And it's like, yeah, but it's like, it came from a very real place. You know what I'm saying? So that's Uncanny Valley.
That is definitely one of my favorites for sure.
Thank you.
Definitely dig it. I want to thank you for letting me be one of the few to hear this, songs from this project before you
Mm,
release it to the public. Um, this has been years in the making for you, obviously, and we all love trilogies, music, movies, any
yeah.
form of entertainment. We all love it, and this is your trilogy of Invisible Spit Kicker. So I'm very excited
Yeah.
about this project. Another song that really got my attention, of course, you Q Mystic, y'all did Ghetto
Mm.
Gospel, and then he, because I
Yeah.
love saying it like that. I am a son of a retired pastor after all.
Mm.
Minesweeper, Q Mystic did the beat.
Ah, that's
Um,
track 3.
yeah,
Yep.
I
Yeah.
dig that track.
My yeah. Minesweeper is crazy because that song I've actually had for a while. That song actually exists. Like in the wild. On When we first did our first compilation, like our first monthly compilation, we did it directly on the website as individual singles before we started packaging them as a compilation. Minesweeper is on our website at bcreative.com. Be Creative is BKR8V, like BKR8V, bcreative.com. If you go there, all of our music is there, first of all. So if you can't find it, it's there for purchase. And if you want to just stream it or whatever, for whatever reason, and don't want to pay us money, which is okay, you know what I mean? Like, you can see the full catalog there so that you know what to search and what to go look for. But Minesweeper is actually out there on bcreative.com, and it's free. So, check that out if y'all are interested in that song, or hearing something from the album before it comes out. bkr8v.com, that's there. Minesweeper was Minesweeper is a series of stories from my life, about me kind of, how do I explain this? I wanted to make a song. If Uncanny Valley is a song about the anxiety that you have around like being in a dangerous neighborhood and being in like just a fucked up habitat in general, Minesweeper is a song about surviving in that habitat. You know what I mean? It's about, this is how I move through life. This is how I'm looking at things. These are the lessons that I learned along the way to learn how to get through things successfully. And that's what Minesweeper is. But I named it Minesweeper because of the concept of the Minesweeper game that's on everybody's computer that nobody plays anymore. Right along with Solitaire, Minesweeper is a game where you click a box, and then it gives you a number from 1 to 9, and that tells you how many mines are around that box. And you have to click around to try to figure out, through the logic of knowing what number it is, to try to label all of the bombs and not step on any of the bombs. And I thought that was a good parallel to living in the hood. You know what I'm saying? You understand a little bit here. You understand a lot about this. Okay, there's an 8 here. Don't go over here. This is a 1 over here. It's still kind of dangerous. There aren't really any zeros. There aren't many empty spaces where it's just safe. But like, if you're really paying attention to your surroundings, you can kind of navigate through this minefield. You know what I'm saying? Without blowing yourself up. And that was where the concept of Minesweeper came from. And then the chorus, the running chorus of it is more like a bridge. It's like a chronological dial twice daily on broken timepieces, like a broken watches right twice a day. You know what I mean? Like a chronological dial twice daily on broken timepieces, numbers rarely lie, divine peepers since Minesweeper. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I've been smart like this about how to survive since back when niggas used to play Minesweeper. And then that's the song, and then everything is just kind of my experiences.
That's dope, man. So be on the lookout. ISK3,
Mm-hmm.
Invisible Spit Kicker 3, coming soon, courtesy of Creative Native Records.
Yep. Yes, indeed.
Until then, go check out all the previous releases from all the artists on the website that Floyd mentioned. Check them out on social media at Twitter. We're not calling it X, we're still calling it Twitter. Don't care.
Facts.
Not referring to it as X. You can
Mm,
follow Floyd on at FuriousFloyd on Twitter and Instagram, and he'll keep
yeah,
you more informed on when that project will be officially out. Floyd, you're definitely one of my favorites to interview, and I
appreciate it.
appreciate the time. Continue success, happiness, and everything that goes your way into your label. Going to see you and Q was one of the highlights of my year. Going to
I
that Ghetto
appreciate it.
Gospel album
Release.
release.
Yeah,
That was
that was a good night,
yeah, so
man.
so shout out to everybody, man. You enjoy your weekend, your final days of September on to October, because you live in Kentucky. We know how complicated the weather gets. Still got some
Yep.
decent days, so we're gonna make the
Oh,
most of it.
we
Yeah,
got about 10 to 15 inches of snow coming after the El Nino this winter. So y'all better
yeah,
dress warm. They better figure out these plows and these salt trucks out here, because it'd be 2 inches out here and y'all be shutting everything down. They better
yeah,
prepare. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? But yeah, real quick, bcreative.com, bkr8v.com. When my album comes out, it's actually gonna come out a couple of weeks early on the website. And then it's gonna hit streaming. So I'm gonna put it out early, put it out on the website. You can listen to it there, you can purchase it directly there, and then after a couple of weeks, then it'll be on all the major streaming like normal. So when it comes to major streaming, a quick little tip for people, because I know you got to get to your next
yeah,
interview. But quick little tip for people: when you upload, you usually want to give it 30 days to upload to streaming, so that way you get consideration for all the playlists and stuff. But with our website, I can drop it as soon as it's done.
Yeah.
So that's why when I say it'll be out soon, it will be out very soon. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
check it out. Much love. I appreciate you, Kenny. BKR8V.com. Go check it out. Go check it out right now. You know what I'm saying? Put it in your little browser, BKR8V.com. We got merch. We got a million fucking albums. And all of our information, our tours, everything is
Yeah.
always up there. So much love.
Much love, man. You have a good night.
You
All
too,
right.
Kenny. Peace. Appreciate you.
Peace. Peace. All right.